Good morning, people. One of my brothers from another mother had a beautiful American bulldog named Oi. Oi was a big boy. I believe he maxed out somewhere around 145 to 160 pounds. He would roam around his high privacy fenced yard with pride, but the neighborhood kids just couldn't seem to let him be at times. They would antagonize him as they would pass by until one day the father dog of my very own American bulldog cleared the fence. As humans, we sometimes find our way in the middle of stuff that we could have easily avoided if we would have simply just left it alone. You know those situations where you run into someone with more of an advantage than you, yet instead of walking around the situation, you elect to walk right into it. We just have to get our point across, or we can't let it go until we prove our point right. This isn't really a bad thing when the fight is even, but when it is not, there must be some small amount of intelligence still left inside of the individual to understand why the next phase may not be so worth it. Listen up, people. Before you go poking the bear, make sure you are up to speed with your advantages and disadvantages. All it will take is for one wrong calculation to not add up, and you just might find yourself subtracted from the equation. Never judge a book by its cover, and never put yourself in a position that may have you running from something that can easily devour you.
First Cup KC, unique, hustle hard music, yeah. First Cup KC, start your day off with a cup of Joe and positive convo. First Cup KC, shine a light on the ones that work hard from Kansas to the Mo. First Cup KC, motivate, educate, inspire the youth to be great. First Cup KC, believe in yourself is the key to make a change. It's never too late. First Cup KC. This broadcast is a No Solutions podcast production. Yeah.
Today on the show, I am interviewing the on-air tech expert, Burton Kelso. He has appeared in many TV segments talking about everything from your typical computer technologies to cybersecurity that protects them. Please welcome Doctor of Tech, Burton Kelso.
You forgot social media expert.
Yeah, and that's why I got some questions on social media. Trust me.
Oh, okay.
Trust me.
I got you. Yeah.
Trust me. But I know it took a minute. You're a busy man. You're all over the place, man. But it is an honor.
Well, thank you.
To
I
finally
appreciate
have
that.
you here on the show.
Has anyone ever called you Chuck D?
Yep.
I hope so.
I got Chuck D, Chucky D, the Cheetah Man.
You go with Chuck D, but it may be a trademark on that. I don't want Public Enemy coming after you.
Chuck D. Well,
you know,
I don't know,
you even got the hat on too.
Are they still around?
Yeah, they.
I know Flavor Flav is still
I know he was
around,
acting crazy,
yeah,
but yeah, they still around. So yeah, you better be careful.
I love the Force MDs.
Do you?
No, hold on. It was Chuck D. What were they called? What was their
Public Enemy?
It was Public Enemy,
right?
And but what they call their squad?
Oh my gosh! It was Security of the First World.
The Security of the First World.
That's
See,
right.
My
with
brother
Professor
Tyson,
Griff.
With Professor Griff.
Yep, and Terminator X, man.
Terminator
You
X.
cannot forget that,
And
man.
my brother would slap me in the back of my head for
He sure would, man. Send the Nation of Islam after you.
All of them too.
All of them, right?
Man,
right?
So you visit the viewers a little bit about yourself, man. I know you're a family man. I'll be watching your videos on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Happy family man too.
Well, I gotta correct you. My videos are everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't forget YouTube and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Instagram on IGTV, which no one watches. But, describe me, I'm more of a go-giver. So, yeah, family man, dad, all that titles fit. But in the end, I believe in being a go-giver as far as making sure that people, helping people out. Because, that's what it's all about. Yeah. It's like, you're going to laugh. This old Star Trek quote that I always believe in, which is the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And I've been living that since.
Or the one.
Yep, or the one. Because, as individuals, that's good. It's good to take care of yourself because you can't pour from an empty cup or an empty pitcher. But at the same time, it's very important that we all contribute and help each other out in life in order to make sure that we all succeed. Because in the end, we all need to make it to the top. And I think that's what's fueled my journey as an entrepreneur, getting into technology, because I really don't consider myself a technology expert guy. I'm just a guy who happens to know a little bit about technology, but my goal is to make sure that everybody can understand how technology works and how to protect themselves from all the cyber threats out there, and to make sure that they can get the most usage out of their technology and that they can stay safe from all the cyber threats out there. I mean, that's my goal, and to empower people too. I mean, that to inspire people, to give them a reason to kind of stick around and help them achieve whatever goals that they have put forth, because it's not all about tech. It's about just life in general.
And learning how to make things a little easier. It's called faster advancement, speed things up. I mean, I see a lot of people don't understand tech doesn't mean just metal.
No, it doesn't.
A lot of people don't understand tech can be that. Burton, I was in Walmart one day.
Right.
And I seen, how people cut the crust off their bread. Well, this was
Don't tell me you're one of those people.
No.
Oh, okay.
I gotta have it.
I gotta have the crust too, man.
I gotta have all of it.
Yes,
I
me
paid
too.
for it. I'm not throwing nothing away.
That don't make no sense, man.
Yeah, that butt might end up getting ate too.
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
don't play. I use that to sap gravy up with. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to waste it.
I know.
But man, this is one of the biggest questions I got for you.
All right.
Why tech?
Because I like playing video games. I mean, is that a good answer?
Yeah, it is.
And then
it's
I knew.
A good start.
And then I knew back in '93 when I started my company, I'd worked for a couple of big box stores, and people are always struggling with tech. And at least back in those days, you got an instruction manual with whatever tech that you got. But even back then, those manuals were written by gearheads who didn't really know how to understand how to talk to the average person. So I saw that there was a need for people to show them how technology works and to set it up. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to the average person, they just want it to work. They don't care about the who it's and the whys and stuff.
No, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just make it work.
Yeah.
So I understood that at an early age. In fact, I mean, if I get around a bunch of tech guys, the lingo they throw out sometimes, I mean, it even goes over my head because I try to stay centered with the end user. It's almost like
simplify, man.
Exactly. It's almost like Steve Jobs and his vision as far as how people and technology work together. That's why you have your fanatics about Apple, because there's not a lot of buttons. Even though you pay a lot for Apple devices, they last for a long time. And in the end, they just don't. I mean, they just work. And it's almost Windows or Microsoft has kind of gone that route too.
Updates.
Well, those Apple has those, and I get what you're saying, but Apple makes them a little bit less seamless, where it's not throwing them in your face all the time that it's going to update. It kind of sneaks them in on you. Yeah. So that way you're not worrying about what's going on. But Microsoft is trying to catch up with that human experience. But you have to understand the concept between the two companies. So Steve Jobs was more like, I want the personal experience. I want people to get more out of technology. Whereas Bill Gates was more of we're going to go after the IBMs and the big corporate, and that's what we're designing our stuff for. It just so happens people have embraced our stuff, because still, even back in the early 90s, Windows products were a lot cheaper than Apple products. So, I mean, that's what did it for me,
Yeah. I love, I'm an Apple guy.
So, are you?
Yeah. I use both though.
I don't see an Apple Watch on you. Oh, my bad. No. I like how you threw it up. I got one too, brother.
Threw it up, man.
I got one too.
So the way my company is designed, I have to have both.
Oh, everybody's got to have both at some point. Because, I mean,
it's just stupid, man. Just find a way to make it to where you can switch over.
It doesn't work like that, because remember, it's almost like the three companies you have to deal with documents, for example. You got Google, and Google's got their workspace, and it ain't going to work with It ain't going to work with Apple, and it ain't going to work with Microsoft. So those companies understand that. So you'll never get a world where it'll just seamlessly work together. One of my most popular YouTube channel videos is on OneDrive, which is the cloud storage platform for Microsoft. There are a lot of Apple users that like it because they're kind of hybrid, but they want OneDrive to work like iCloud or work more seamlessly with Apple. And I'm like, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
It's designed for Microsoft. If you want it seamless, go buy a Windows device.
Man,
It ain't going to happen.
do. Yeah.
So you got to do hybrid.
Yeah.
Got to do hybrid.
So, dude, you've been on a lot of TV shows, man. Your face is everywhere.
I wish.
I watched a couple of the videos that
you fall asleep during them?
Nah. I'm kind of like bored until waiting up to the point where they let you in.
Oh, okay.
Because some of those casters, for some reason, they just
Right.
And then
Right.
by the time you come in, you're like, finally.
I don't, I've never watched any of my segments through. I've seen them visually because I muted, but I hate my voice and I hate the way I look.
Yeah.
And I just record them and look at them and put them on my YouTube channel so other people can view them, give me a little bit more credibility. But yeah, it has been quite a bit. And believe it or not, it's been, probably about a 10-year period of doing both local, national, and international. It's been a challenge.
A lot of interviews, man, a lot of them. But you're getting your name out, you're getting everything out. I see some of your social medias, man. You're crowded with people following you, so you're helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, the crazy thing about it is a lot of people don't understand. You do become popular when you're giving away information. I mean, and you don't have to charge for every damn thing.
No, you don't.
But everybody want to charge for everything.
They do.
I walked up to a guy at one of my networking events, and it was a networking event, and,
Right.
and this is how I am at networking events. I wait for someone to, hey, who are you? And I what I like to do is when I approach someone,
Because you hiding in the corner,
no. So before I even talk to someone,
right?
I look at an attribute that I
Right.
can give them a compliment on.
Right.
Man, I'm digging the shirt,
Right?
tie shirt combo.
okay.
It's awesome. What do you do? And
Right.
then I go from there. A lot of people don't do that. They just come in trying to sell you. But
Or you know what I hate? Well, for me, when I go to networking events, I don't give out business cards unless I'm asked because I'm not going to force my services on you because you may already have a relationship with somebody. But if you ask, I'm going to give you a card, and I get chastised for it all. Well, I should say when I used to go to networking events. But the other thing that I always concentrate on is just asking people, what it is that they like to do. But I mean, you get it as far as networking events are concerned. You really do, because it's all about building and cultivating those relationships. Not about collecting cards.
so what? And that's what you said that before I went to the next question. Don't ask for a card from me if you're not going to use it.
Well, they can use it. They got to start it as a foundation to get to know a little bit about more you,
Right.
Chuck.
But that's why I never ask. If someone asks me for a card,
You're gonna give it to them,
I give them a card.
right?
Even if you take the card and you befriend me on Facebook or social media or something
Right.
like that, that's a connection.
That
That's
is
a
a
true
connection.
connection. But if I give you a card and you take the card and you put it to the side and you never use it, you never see it, you never even reach out for the connection, you just wasted your time.
Right.
And we don't have that much time on this planet or whatever this thing is. So we
Right.
got to make sure everything we're doing is of value.
I agree. Let me throw in something real quick.
Yeah.
So the other thing I hate about networking events, when people want to meet for lunch,
Yeah.
is like, I know they just gonna try to sell me something. So
Yeah.
what you should do if you get that, just say, hey, if you try to sell me during this lunch meeting, then
Yeah.
I'm out. But one other thing people should do with their cards at networking events, connect with folks on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's almost in the day and age, you've got two CRMs. You've got the one you keep for your database of names. But the problem is with CRM is if someone leaves that career position, you lost all contact because you don't have their email anymore or their phone number, because if they're not using their mobile, it's a done deal. But if you connect with them on LinkedIn, you're connected forever. And what's the first thing most people do when they change careers? They gonna update their LinkedIn profiles or social media, period. So I would say, if you got some cards laying around, connect with them on social media.
Yep, and that's why I do with all mine. As soon as they give me a card, I say, "Are you on the social medias?"
Right.
Well, give me a follow, and I'll give you a follow, and we'll stay in contact.
That's the best advice you can do, because you got to think about it, that you're developing relationships with people, because that's what it's all about, man.
And not just that, some people don't know who you are.
Right.
And befriending them on one of the social media, especially the professional one,
right,
gives them a good idea. It gives them that chance to visit you without interrupting or, so.
As long as they update their profile, though, or not update their profile, post on a regular basis. Because you can have a dead account and expect people to know who you are.
And it is a lot of dead accounts out there, man. You can see it. Some people, you'll post a picture, hey, I like that. And then like 2 months later, they're like responding to it. And it's like, who's this again? Like, what was this about?
I know, right?
Go back I'm like, dang, man, you got to stay hip.
You sure do.
You got to keep your networking thing on.
You have
blast.
to, man. You do.
That's how we excel. I mean, my company here within the last year and a half is skyrocketed,
right,
because of the networking. Matter of fact, we had a networking event from the shop over to here,
right,
and then went from here over to the Rub Barbecue.
Oh, really?
So
okay,
that's my type of dinner date.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When the whole party's going,
right,
and that was a couple months. That was a couple months ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. When was that? A couple months. Yeah.
Maybe even a few months ago.
Was the barbecue any good?
Oh, it's a partner of ours.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's the Rub Barbecue, man. They're in, he was in the American Royal a couple of times.
Oh, really?
He's in the Lenexa Barbecue.
And you failed to
year.
bring any tonight?
Man, I'm going to tell you this much. If I asked this man,
right,
he would automatically give it to me.
I know he would.
For free. I mean, I'd be sneaking the money to him.
I believe you, man. I had to give you a hard time, Chuck.
So, question, man. So what would you say is one of the biggest notable shows you've been on?
Oh, probably the big one right now is Talk TV out of London. I mean, just being on international TV is surreal, especially. And what's interesting about it, a lot of stations you would think, unless you're paying, because to explain the whole TV dynamic, you can pay to be on TV all the time. It's like considered paid advertising, but to be on as an expert on like CBS or News Nation Now or Newsmax or even Talk TV out of London, to on an international level, to have them announce that you're from Kansas City and read the name of your company and to let you wear your company gear on live TV. I mean, that's kind of the biggest thing that you can. Yeah, it is nationwide, man.
Some nationwide ads.
It is, not nationwide, international when you like out of the country. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, if you really think about it, because, once you make that appearance in a different country, you're just international. So, I mean, that's huge. And I remember the first night I did it, I was in San Antonio and I got an email. I was on business in San Antonio. I got an email saying, hey, we want you to come on tonight. And of course, when the media reaches out, yes is always the answer unless you're on an international flight. So I had to do it in a hotel room. So I had to set the hotel room up and did the interview, and it went off without a hitch. But just that moment after doing that first interview, I was just like, I couldn't comprehend where I was just mentally, because being overseas on being broadcast to, thousands, maybe millions of people. I mean, that's just something that makes you sit down and think about it. It was really a surreal moment.
It was, man. I bet you it was, man. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And that which leads me to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't just do these things on TV and online. You're actually going up in the companies and speaking.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I'm a national speaker. So I go to different business organizations at their annual events and talk about a variety of topics. Obviously, cybersecurity is a huge one. Crypto, NFTs, and metaverse is another
you stop talking
topic.
Too loud. You talk about crypto and all that stuff, man. He gonna stop doing the editing and stuff.
Right. I wouldn't jump all feet first into it yet. Anything you invest in, you got to take your time. But also, social media is a huge thing, and LinkedIn's the biggest thing right now on social media, just because people are tired. People want more direct content when they're connecting with people on social media. So on LinkedIn, I can't say you don't have the cute puppy photos, but there's not as much controversial topic on LinkedIn as you would see like on Facebook and stuff like that. And you've got more of a professional mindset of people that are on LinkedIn. But one thing I will say about LinkedIn that will help people embrace it more is the fact that people think of it as B2B, but most people don't think about LinkedIn being for consumers. And even though you may be a business person, you're still a consumer. So people will back up from it saying, well, I don't want to mess with my peers. I'm like, well, they've got to buy products and services too.
Yes, they do.
Why do you think they're on there? Most people are online because they're looking for products and services that they can use, like you said, opportunities,
man, bunch of opportunities, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, so speaking nationally is great. I mean, it really opens the door up to connecting with new people. And, I mean, it feels good to go to different events and be listed on websites as like the featured speaker. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it feels good, so especially now that I got some decent headshots.
And keynotes, it's not easy. That's not something easy to pull off. You got to really do a lot of research behind it.
Funny story. My first keynote was here in town, did a business event, technology conference, and they didn't give me any direction on what to go with the keynote. They just talk about you. I'm like, I'm not that kind of person. So it went off without a hitch. And so I couldn't complain. But yeah, keynotes are huge. It really is to be able to spearhead an event and help inspire people and motivate them going into the next direction of their lives or the event.
What's the audience range and what do you speak about in these events?
So, I mean, audience range can vary. I mean, because there's different conferences for different groups. So you've got smaller organizations. You're looking anywhere, to 50 to 100 people, or, you can go to events and there's several thousand people there, listening to you speak. So it just varies from event to event. But
so like say you go, they call you up, BK, we need you to speak at our conference. Mm-hmm. The topic of the conference is how to make your day more productive by getting rid of social media during the day.
Right.
I mean, is there certain topics that you talk about, or are they restricted just to the cybersecurity and the technology?
No, they're not. It's more the big ones that I'm going on right now are talking about diversity and
yes. Okay. So
DEI, more, I would say not motivational, but just motivating people to slow down.
Yes.
As far as not embracing that grind mentality. In fact,
you are a multi-talented speaker.
I try to be.
Man.
I try to be. Yeah. I don't want to just be a one-trick pony.
It's that one trick pony.
Maybe
it's people out there that's like that though.
Mm-hmm.
You can almost rest assured that when they speak, they're going to speak about the same exact thing.
Exactly.
And it gets boring.
It does, and it limits your career as a speaker if you're not able to come up with a variety of topics and to make sure that you stay cutting edge as far as making sure that people understand what is the current trend that's going to help them get more out of their lives.
So, you're a security guy. So I gotta talk about some of this cybersecurity stuff, dude. Cause it's, man, I'm a dummy when it comes to any of that stuff.
Right.
First thing I want to know is, it's a lot of people out there that's probably wanting to understand how to get rid of robocalls. Do you know anything about that, man?
Of course I do. You got to quit handing out your phone number. I hate to tell people that, but when you give out your mobile number to different organizations, a lot of side hustle for big tech and big organizations is to sell your information on to third-party vendors. And once you do that, there's no telling where your phone number is going to wind up. So the best things to do with robocalls is, unfortunately, if you're on someone's list, you just got to wait through until your number cycles out of that list. But people need to get in the habit of setting up a fake phone number, like using Google Voice or WhatsApp, and giving that out as their public number. Or if you're a business, you can sign up with Reading Central or Vonage and give those numbers out.
Yeah. Vonage.
Yeah.
That's old school.
No, it's not. Vonage is still around. We use Vonage at our business.
Dang, I'm just saying I ain't heard that name since.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that
there's
a lot of companies that use Vonage as far as their voice over IP service. Because the good thing about voice over IP services especially for businesses, all these voice over IP companies have apps. So if you want to make a phone call with your business caller ID showing up, then you would open up the Vonage app on your phone and then dial out, and then it shows the caller ID from your business as opposed to your cell phone number. Yeah, I know.
Y'all hear that?
I like that. You hear that? I like that.
Y'all better get up on this, man.
Yeah. So the thing that makes it great, other than the app, I mean, you can cut down on a lot of hardware in your business too, because with voice over IP phones, you're always thinking about the voice over IP phone, physical phone that you would have in your corporation, but you can get away from that and work virtually with voice over IP phone numbers, because you can either have people call from their computers or call from their smartphones. And with us being a mobile society, that's a better thing to go with rather than expecting your remote workforce to like have not only a computer, but a voice over IP phone that they would have to plug into a router, especially when most of us are wireless. So, I mean, it's a great way. And believe it or not, I mean, all the customers we have that have some type of voice over IP system, they rarely get spam calls because criminals are able to look at that to find out if it's a cellular number versus like a landline or a voice over IP number. And they want the cell numbers because it helps them spoof and trick people into responding to those spam calls as opposed to any other number coming through.
It's just crazy because all of those calls come in and they know you're just going to hang up.
Not necessarily, man. If you call with some juicy tidbit, like Timmy fell down the well and he's going to need a Western Union to save him from the well, or maybe he's caught in Saudi Arabia in prison and somehow they want some money to bail him out, or the U.S. Marshals are about to bust in your house if you don't pay this IRS bill. They coming to get you. There's all sorts of scams out there. Yeah. And people have FOMO when it comes to the phone, fear of missing out. So when a call comes in, they want to know who it is. Whereas me, it's like,
I look and be like,
yeah.
I don't know that.
Or voicemail. Because I mean, if I want to reach you, I'm going to respect your privacy and I'm going to leave a voicemail message saying, hey, Chuck, or text you and say, hey, that was me that just called. This is what I need. I mean, but you've got to get out of that mentality of fear of missing out. Just people want you. They're going to do what it takes to get you.
I answered the phone one day. It was a 913 number. I said, oh, this ain't no spam. This is a regular call.
Right.
I answered the call and the guy's like, what's up? I'm like, what's up? Who is this? It's like, oh, this is Joey. Man, how you been? What you been up to? And I'm like, Joey, man, help me remind me who Joey is. And it's like, oh, man, I'm the guy I'm just trying to figure out when you're going to make this payment, yada, yada. I'm like, what?
Oh, my gosh.
No, it wasn't about a payment. It was about them trying to get me to buy something.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, dude, you just went out of all of that just to get me, and I'm not going to buy. Well, dude, I think it was he asked me about, this guy took me all the way down to the point where I was basically like, dude, I don't have a credit card.
Right.
And the guy was like, well, does anyone in the room have a credit? I'm like, dude, holla at you. I had to hang up the phone, but he got me on the phone by faking me out like he knew me.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, so I have two phones. Mm-hmm. One is a company and one is my personal. Mm-hmm. My company phone, I get more spoof calls on that company phone than I get any call from anyone else. All my businesses, for some reason, call my personal phone.
Right.
But it's because of the connections of the relationships behind those businesses. Right. And it's just, I don't know. That's crazy. One thing that I can't stand when it comes to technology is that's my biggest thing, the spoof calls. Yeah. So I am definitely going to watch this episode. I'm serious until I figure that out, because it's nothing like.
You got to come up with a fake number that you give out to the public. You got to have your public persona, and then WhatsApp or, like I said, Google Voice or any of those will work.
I think I'm gonna do the WhatsApp. That's pretty crazy. But what are your 3 top tips you can give our listeners about protection against things such as social media theft and online purchasing?
So number 1, when it comes to passwords, you got to stop using passwords and use passphrases. So passphrases are 2 unrelated words. Passphrases are 2 unrelated words that create a password. So one of the most famous ones I use is, and I need to stop using stinky chicken, because I mean, chickens do stink. So that's kind of an easy one to do. But if you did like purple turkey, or yellow rhinoceros or orange. I almost said fish, but that's a goldfish. But orange potato.
Yeah.
Those are example of words that create passphrases. They're easy for you to remember, but it's hard for cyber criminals to guess because most people are using passwords that are related to what they're posting on social media. So kids' name and birthday. Just ran across a lady who's using her birth year and the city she grew up in as her password. Now, she put an @ sign in the A of the city that she is from, but it's like, well, come on now. People are going to figure that out by looking at you and what you post on social media. So, I mean, it's really not a good password. So that's why I say passphrases are key as far as switching to using those as far as a password. Second would be to use a password keeper. And it doesn't matter if you use OnePass or LastPass or even your favorite web browser. So if you use Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Brave, those browsers have the ability for you to store your passwords in them. So when you go to your favorite website and log in, your password keeper will put in all of your credentials and it'll automatically log you into the website. But the good thing about a password keeper is, number one, it'll help you keep all of your different passwords to those websites organized, and it will alert you if one of your weak passwords that you decided to use appears on the dark web. It'll prompt you to change it, and then you have the option to go in and change your password. And then finally, most people need to understand that 99% of cybercrime requires user interaction. So when you're clicking on those links, then you're opening up your computer and devices to cyber threat. Yeah, some cyber threat. When you give out your phone number, that's also an invitation for you to become a victim of cybercrime. And when you respond to those phone calls that come in, then you're opening yourself up too, because those spam phone calls are becoming a little bit more sophisticated. You have American or English sounding people that are calling. They're always thinking of different threats that can trigger you to react. And it's best, if you aren't familiar with the number, even if it's local, to let it go to voicemail. And then you have the option to kind of respond and figure out which direction to go with that phone call or with that voicemail. But those are the three.
Voicemail.
What'd you say?
Let it go to voicemail.
Oh, I agree, man. But like I said, most people have the fear of missing out, and it runs into a big problem. And I think the other thing that helps too, if people stop putting in blind numbers in their phone and actually keep up with their address book, it'll help identify what calls are coming into their smartphones or cell phones. So those are the big three.
That's a good three. Those are definitely good three. And I'm still sticking with that. Let it go to voicemail.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
I'm so used to letting it go to voicemail now that I don't even check the numbers.
Right.
On. It could be Ed McMahon. Well, they said Ed McMahon was never the one who gave out the publisher
the clearinghouse, running up to the house with the check. Yeah.
I thought it was Ed McMahon, but
he's
saying
just the
that
announcer.
It wasn't.
He was just the announcer on the commercial. He wasn't the one coming to your house.
I know, but for some reason, all that time, we thought
you was on the lookout for him,
he
huh?
was the one coming to the house, man. But
had I known that, I would have drove down until I saw him walking down the street and kidnap him. And then get that. Because you know he's got the check. Like, I know you got it on you, man. Just hand it here. It's mine.
Man, but that would have been something else back in the days, being somebody knocking on your door and you owe like 2 months of rent. And
you didn't answer?
Telling me, you like, nope, I ignored that call because it looked like a Jehovah's Witness or something.
Right.
So, but no, you said something that caught my attention on a recent post.
Right.
You said that you didn't consider yourself as a tech guy.
Right.
What did you mean by that? Because you are a tech guy, right?
No, man, I don't go home and mess with computers and stuff. Got neighbors coming over.
Is that what a tech guy is?
They're playing with technology all the time. Yeah, I got neighbors coming over. Hey, can you look at this laptop? Why you really? Exactly. Yeah, you did it right. Like, come on now. Do you really think I want to play with a computer tonight rather than to spend time with my family or just to chill out? So I don't have to have the latest and greatest tech devices. I think the newest tech thing that I have is iPhone 13 that I have, and the 14s just came out. Yeah. So I'm not rushing out to buy the new iPhone. I'm not rushing out to buy the latest Android. I'm still running Windows 10. I've got on my Mac. I'm a couple of versions behind on Mac OS. So, I mean, as long as I have an understanding of the technology, I don't need to be the guy that's always tinkering and playing around stuff. I know tech guys that have, I don't know how many computers they have in their home. They're all networked. They've got this sophisticated thing, and they're always messing around with it. I'm more of a people person. I want to help people get more from technology. But, yeah,
You can't do that if you're all face up inside some computer.
Yeah, exactly, man.
So, preference.
Oh,
Xbox,
for computers?
PS3.
PS, or I should say PlayStation. We have 2 of them. We got a 3 and a 4. See, that's another thing. We don't have the PS5, so that shows, I mean, it still works.
PS3 and PS4, man, I'm still trying to keep up with them.
Man,
them things are awesome. Man.
They're awesome, but at the same time, these games are so long, and I just don't have time to play with them. Yeah. I mean, we have so many video games that, like, for example, Batman Arkham Knight. I'm still trying to beat that game. And the game came out in 2015. I'm towards the end, but I mean, I just don't have the time to play that. They got a new
version out by now?
They're coming out with a newer Batman game, but yeah, I'm still not done with Arkham. I know they're always coming out with new stuff, but I'm chill with it and just go with whatever works,
That's what's up, man. You sound like you're passionate about what you do, because a lot of people, man, they're always in it for the money.
Oh yeah, there's definitely, and that's why I think a lot of people don't wind up on podcasts or TV shows and stuff like that, because I've heard some outrageous stuff of what people want. Because the misunderstanding with a lot of media stuff is that people think that they're going to make an appearance and then get paid. Yeah. And people always want to get paid for something. If I'm giving out my time and my knowledge, I need to get paid. It's like, no, that's how you develop your brand. Now you can work to that level, but if you just, whoever, no, you're not going to get money. You should just be doing it to help other people out.
And not just that, man. I look at it like this. The more you give, the more you receive.
Oh, I agree. So
you are going to get paid. Mm-hmm. You're just going to get paid in a different way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. In universal credits as opposed to just...
And that's the best credits.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of money credits, When
you give it to the universe, it creates stuff that money would never be able to create.
I know.
So you meet somebody that wouldn't have never knew who Burton Kelso was until they seen Burton Kelso on LinkedIn or on the First Cupkc.
Right.
Oh, who's this guy? This guy is a tech guy. Mm-hmm. He just answered one of my biggest questions. Let me go follow this guy.
Right.
And that's how it happens. Next thing you know, this guy's brought you $100,000 worth of work, and the whole time it all came from something you planted and something that you dropped the seed here and there and here and there and here and there.
Right.
And you didn't have your hand out.
Yeah, my media journey started with, there was a local event about 10 years ago called the Cash Mob. So actually it was January of 2012 where I just got this idea because they were doing it nationwide to go help out mom and pop businesses by just showing up, getting a lot of people to go in with us to local businesses, paying cash only, so these businesses didn't have to pay the credit card fees for bringing up purchases. And next thing I know, like the Star and then all the local TV stations descended on these shops at 50th and State Line that we did. That was like 10 years ago, and that's what's really started the media journey. It wasn't like some people thought we were charging these businesses to get them the coverage, but it's like, no, just out of the goodness out of our heart, these businesses were struggling.
See, look where you're at now.
Yeah. So yeah, it was phenomenal to have all 3 major networks focused in on something that you were doing, and it definitely raised my profile there.
Yeah. You have been in TV for a while.
Yeah,
you worked for a couple of TV stations here locally, haven't you?
No, I've just appeared on them. I've never worked for them.
Oh.
Now I'm gonna tell you the trick with the LinkedIn algorithm. So on LinkedIn, what you can do, especially if you want to stay in front of your audiences, is to whatever you've participated in, whether it be PTA or a nonprofit or something like that, put it in your profile so that you're still doing work for it, and then it'll show up that you've worked there. So all the stations that I've appeared on that
you've worked there, though. I mean,
I haven't worked there. It shows it on LinkedIn, but yeah, I guess I've contributed, but I've never been an employee at any of the stations. It's just when you see that anniversary date roll around saying, oh yeah, you're celebrating 10 years at Fox 4, and it goes out to everybody on LinkedIn, and then my inbox is filled up with all these congratulations for your anniversary. I'm like,
Somebody
Well.
one day called me and said, "Happy birthday."
Oh, really?
Yep, they called me, and I was like, "Thank you."
Right, exactly.
In advance.
Right.
5 months in advance.
Right.
It's not my birthday, man.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I think that's the LinkedIn. That's
yeah,
the day I started LinkedIn. or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
So
That's
not my
crazy,
birthday,
isn't it?
but thanks,
Crazy.
though, for calling me.
Right.
He called me from another country.
Really?
It was like, man, what was it? Man.
I'm just going to make up one. It was from Addis Ababa,
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
So it wasn't Saudi Arabia. I think it was Philippine. It was the
Really?
Philippine. Yeah, it was one
Really?
of I'm friends with him on LinkedIn.
Really?
He reached out. And I was like, man, that's pretty considerate of you to.
Maybe they're on a different calendar than we are.
I don't know, man. Maybe
They're not on the Julian calendar. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out
I'm
there.
just saying it was kind of. It just lets you know that people be watching.
I had someone send me a video message. It was on my it was a birthday message, but it was a video message. I'm like, okay, yeah. I think they were trying to show off their LinkedIn prowess, but
Yeah.
because you can send video messages. I mean, it was great, but
So I almost learned how, and then I ran out of time. Because they had a group of people that was on LinkedIn that was
Right.
actually showing us, and they were pretty good at what they were doing. They was holding classes to show you how to optimize
right,
LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's got the videos. Well, I want to get into that type of stuff, Burton. I want to do that stuff, but I just
what LinkedIn Live?
you got to have the time to do a lot of that stuff, or you got to sit there and learn it.
What you're talking about LinkedIn Live, right?
Yeah,
Oh, you just go into your account and turn on creator mode, and then you'll have access to LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn Live, you can't do it from your phone. You've got to do it from a computer, and you have to use a third-party program like OBS Studio,
yeah,
or not Restream, OBS Studio, or I think you can do it from Restream, or you can do it from like SoundCloud or something like that.
So you can use SoundCloud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to use a third-party program in order to take advantage of LinkedIn Live. Like Facebook Live, you just click on live and you live. Same thing with not Facebook, but YouTube and Twitter. Well, not Twitter. What's the other one I'm thinking of? Instagram and TikTok. Yeah.
And that's what I want to ask you about that. TikTok. What do you think about the surge in these TikTokers?
It's interesting because obviously now people are trying to do it to promote their business. So, I mean, I think it's good as an entertainment tool. It's good, too, as an educational tool because I think people relate to video more so than they do just to still photo. And then also the video helps people connect with you better if they can see you live and interact with you. And it's going to definitely build a stronger foundation for the relationships that you're trying to create. So, I mean, I don't see any problems with it. But the good thing about TikTok, Chuck, is that the fact that you can repurpose those videos, even though it doesn't show up high on the algorithm. If you had to post video, the best way to do it, because they've got the creator tools, is to do it through TikTok and then save the video to your smartphone and then repurpose it on different social media platforms. And then Reels with Instagram lets you do that too, because video's hard. I mean, and then trying to come up with one for each platform is ridiculous. So it's good you have services like TikTok and Instagram that allow you to do one reel or one TikTok video, and then you can just share it on different platforms.
Yeah. And that's what I got to get into with these cups.
Right.
So I do them every morning, Monday through Friday, but you got to put in the work to get the message.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to put that work in and slow down just enough to read some stuff. So this is a video era.
Right.
The age is just all video.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing about TikTok that I do like is I like the creativity that I see. Is a lot of creative stuff on TikTok.
It is.
One thing I don't like is I don't like to see everybody's private parts, even if it's partially covered, just shaking their butts all the time. It's like it gets you depressing when you scroll 5 scrolls and that's all you see before you come to somebody that's 300 pounds hula hooping 5 hula hoops. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
That's the stuff I want to see if I'm looking at some entertainment stuff.
Right.
But
not all the booty shaking and the rump shaking.
Man,
Yeah, I can deal without that.
It gets too old.
It
man.
gets old.
And that's why I like LinkedIn.
Chuck, what you have to do is just take out when you come across those posts, you just gotta remove them. Yeah, unfriend them. Yeah.
Freeze them out, because a lot of them I don't really. They're not even friends. It's just on the
right. Yeah,
on the
they're
reel.
suggested to
like,
you. Right.
Man, what the heck? You know,
Yeah.
it's just like, and to me, it's kind of like it's is this a subliminal thing that they're sending me saying that this is the stuff I like to watch or something?
No, sex sells, man. That's what they think is going to intrigue you into like staying involved in TikTok and, the accounts that they think are high profile. That's what they send to you. So I got to ask this real quick. You ever seen The Social Dilemma? Documentary on Netflix?
The Social Dilemma. Yes. I just watched that a couple months ago oh man, that was deep. Because that was the TV show, the Netflix special where they had the guys in the computer room saying, he's up.
Right.
Send him a message.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
That's how they do it. They just want to keep you locked in and addicted.
So since I got the tech guy here, Mr. The king of the tech airwaves,
right? What
do you think about that movie?
Oh, it's when you have the thing that I've read about most leaders in the tech world is that they don't allow their kids to have devices or even be on social media because it would be like if you were a Philip Morris employee or, I think Philip Morris is the biggest cigarette company out there, allowing your family members to smoke because the stuff that you put into it to get them addicted. So same thing with these tech giants. So when you have tech giants on the beginning of the documentary talking about, I don't touch it. We don't let our kids touch it. I mean, that's a huge sign letting you know that there's a problem that obviously we need it. And that's the whole purpose of the documentary. It's the dilemma. We kind of need it and it helps fuel our society. But at the same time, the dilemma is how often and how long should you be involved in technology and in social media, But that just leaves a question, man. Is it fair? Is it fair to society for them to entice you like that? And even though I know it's got to be fair because marketing is a free game and I went to school for business and science marketing. So I do know you have the right to market. But golly, at what extent should they be able to do it? Yeah, that's a tough question because, it kind of goes on business practices. I mean, I think obviously documentaries like The Social Dilemma put it out there of what you're dealing with. And I think there should be some sort of disclaimer, which there probably is when you don't read those terms of services, when you sign up for
words. And but that's another one though,
right?
Bold letters for the most important,
right?
All that little riff-raff stuff that you're saying all in between that, you can silence that,
right?
But the stuff that's important, bold it. It's just like the noodles,
right?
The what is it called? The ramen noodle pack. How it has the disclaimer of the bad stuff, but it's under the flap,
right? Exactly.
It's like,
but I think the challenge is that they put the onus on the consumer to do a little bit of research as to what they're getting into. And with technology, it's complicated because you're struggling on how to use it. But at the same time, taking the time to find out how addicting our devices is just another step that most people aren't willing to do. But the thing I have a problem with is with young minds, with kids and tweens and teenagers and, little kids that are involved with tech devices. And it really breaks my heart when you see parents and they have these toddlers and they're just glued into their devices or they have their own devices. Yeah, it's just a babysitter.
That's what it is.
That's what I have a problem with,
So, and that's dangerous. A lot of people, you could put the blocks on it all you want, but guess what? Embedded in the middle of some of them videos is some crazy stuff that you would never, ever know your kid ever seen because it was only 10 seconds.
Right. And most parents want the best of both worlds where there's parental control software that's going to block the bad stuff, but then the kids can have rights to like everything else. And it just doesn't happen that way because you have parental control software out there. But for example, parental control software doesn't work in the direct messaging system of any social media platform. So maybe you're friends with your kids on social media, but you can't see what they're doing in direct messenger unless you have access to their account. Same thing with video games. We were talking about which game system the best. If your kids are playing online games, whether it be on their Switch or on their Xbox or PlayStation device, you can't see who they're direct messaging. And there's no parental control software that will allow you to see what those messages are. And that gets down to parents actually taking the time to look at their kids' devices to see who they're interacting with.
Work on that.
But parents don't want to do that. Like you said, they want to babysit and just hope for the best that hopefully little Johnny doesn't get contacted by that pedophile or by that cyber bully out there. And that's the heartbreaking thing.
So what did Peter Parker's grandfather say? Or was that his uncle?
That was Uncle Ben. That's what
Uncle
great
Ben.
power comes with great responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's this. That's this technology we got. That's
Yeah.
it's great power. It's a lot of responsibility. You know, let's just say, for instance, you're watching porn.
Right.
And you don't, on the video game. And you don't erase it or you don't take it down, and your little brother or your little sister gets a hold of it, and now she's influenced or he's influenced or affected by that.
Right.
I mean, that's because you didn't take the proper precaution to do your dirt and get rid of it.
Right.
You know? And it's like, God, this technology, man, it can literally screw you up if you're not watching. And like I said, another thing about what I was saying earlier, my grandson was watching a video one time and some crazy stuff went on it, and just that fast it was gone. And it was some crazy psycho killer stuff with a knife. And it's like,
yeah.
Are we in a society now to where we have to literally watch something before we let our kids watch it?
Yeah, I think so, because like YouTube, for example, YouTube would just throw any video at you if the algorithm thinks that you are in tuned into that stuff. I mean, I think the biggest thing is parents don't even think about that. You know, they just let their kids watch YouTube. And believe it or not, there are a lot of school districts that upload their video content to YouTube. You would think a lot of districts, especially the ones that have money, can upload content to their own server so that it's all in-house rather than put it into YouTube, because you could have unlimited storage with videos and content on YouTube, and it's not a big deal. But you know how kids they get curious, start typing in other topics, and next you know, they're encountering inappropriate content. So yes, we are in a day and age where parents need to take the time and responsibility to kind of make sure that their kids are in check, because kids are curious.
Yeah.
And, you know, the sky's the limit as far as whatever they type in. So they can get access to anything on YouTube and on social media.
So now, you know, I got to talk about this, and this is a question, you know, I've been waiting to ask. This company you got, how long you been in it?
Oh, it'll be 30 years next year.
30 years. Man.
I know. Woo. It's funny, though. Yeah, it's a long time. And, you know, with any company, it's a challenge. But what the funniest thing I have with all the tech companies that are across the country or in the metro area is that people are, I've never heard of you guys. It's like, oh, thanks for stabbing me in the heart. But the challenge is like, well, try to brand. But the challenge is the fact that there are tons of IT companies, and the fact that, you know, we're going up against Geek Squad and the Apple Store and Micro Center, Kid Next Door, your, you know, baby's mama's daddy's uncle. So there's a lot of people that claim to know technology, and people are that mindset that if someone knows how to hold a device, then they're tech savvy. So there's a lot of competition out there as far as tech savvy people, because I've even seen large corporations where they've used the kid to like handle their cybersecurity. And because I think the challenge is when technology comes out and you can purchase it like at your big box computer store, most people are kind of hesitant to ask for help because they think that they're supposed to even do it themselves, and not just on the individual level, but as businesses too. But I think people need to understand that with tech, yeah, it's accessible, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to install it. Because when it comes to the copier guy, everyone's going to call the copier guy out because no one has a clue about copiers. If you pull the paper out and do the jam and it don't print, then people are out, well, heck, let me call the copier company in. With the computer, people are like, well, I just feel like an idiot, so I'm going to just struggle with it until I get it solved. So
yeah, I'm calling.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't call too. But the other thing that it kind of happens with me in technology, I don't look like your atypical tech guy. So people are more apt to call the stereotypical tech guy as opposed to calling me. You know, I've got, you know, not a bunch of piercings, but, you know, my ears are pierced. I'm a little laid back. You know, I can't say I always dress fashionable, but I just don't have the persona of a tech person. So I don't think that, you know, the confidence isn't always there as far as people saying, well, let me call Burton's company, you know, because they're like, I don't know, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, for a lot of companies, I think the most important thing in the end is to have a tribe of people that you can constantly grow, and the ones that constantly come back and trust you. Because I can go back to day one with customers I've known for almost 30 years, and we're still having good business relationships. And there's not a lot of companies that can say that because they go through the churn of always having to search for new customers as opposed to
turnover.
as opposed to just keeping the same customer base and having them work with you. So I'm happy with the results.
30 years, man.
Yeah, the journey ain't over yet. You
said 30 years. I'm like, golly.
Yeah, 1993.
So integral.
Yeah.
Where'd that name come from? I mean, what the heck? How did you put that together? And I mean, it's been integral for 30 years, right?
Yeah, it has.
Do you even still remember?
Oh, I know how it came from. It's a funny story. So
I gotta hear this.
Back in this was before the Adobe days and coming up with logos and names and stuff like that. There was a company called Paper Deluxe, and they had a paper called Integral. Because what you would do is you buy the paper, you stick it in your laser printer, put your graphics in it, and it would look like this nice brochure or nice business card. But the name Integral just sounded nice. And I'm like, man, that's a nice name for a paper. We never did buy the paper, but the name Integral just seemed catchy because wasn't really sure where it was going to go as far as a tech company. Were we going to stay break fix? Were we going to do training? Were we going to get into programming? So the name Integral, which means an important part of, important part of the whole. I mean, it fit. So I just went ahead and stuck with it, even though it came with a paper name. Because, I mean, that name sounds good, and just ran with it. And then like a year later, I said, well, maybe I better look and see what this name means. And then I'm like, oh, okay.
It matched perfect.
It matched perfectly.
Everything happened for a reason.
Yeah, it does. I believe that that's for sure.
30 years, man.
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time, man.
I know, right? Man. Technology's changed quite a bit. It's a lot easier now than it was back then because there were more companies involved in tech as far as designing hardware and software. So it was almost like a imperfect organism as far as getting computers and technology and software to all work together. Because now you go through the quality assurance with Mac, Apple, and phones as opposed to if your software is going to work with your hardware. But now it's a no-brainer because they share. They're able to design software that works with your device. And now, if your device goofs up because of software, it's a device problem rather than you having to do a lot of troubleshooting to find out, what the real problem is.
Yeah, that's because technology is just so different now. Because you could take technology everywhere now. When at one point, man, we remember.
Yeah.
I'm 48. So I remember technology was that long phone cord that you bought from the store that'll reach from the main phone line in the house all the way to your room.
Right, exactly.
That was it. That's my technology. So, but for technical support, how can our listeners get in contact with you for any information they might want to reach out and ask you?
That's funny. I almost threw out, just look up Burton Kelso on anywhere on the internet.
And boom.
Google me. Yeah, but also to the company's website and social media tags or Call Integral Now. So if you just type in Call Integral Now, company name will pop up on any of the social media platforms except for TikTok. Because don't they have business accounts on TikTok? I think they do. They do because I know. Oh, who was it? Oh, TikTok got in trouble. No, that was Instagram. They got in trouble by convincing kids to switch to business accounts.
See,
some company in Ireland sued Meta, for $400 million.
What do you think about Meta?
Oh, so here's a Meta trivia for you. So Roblox is considered the Meta a version of the metaverse. So is any of those multiplayer online games. They're considered part of a version of the metaverse. It's just a virtual world.
It's prepping.
It's a virtual world for whatever service. So the challenge that Meta is going to have is how do you convince people to play in your virtual universe? It's like Minecraft could be considered the metaverse. So that's the biggest challenge is all about consumers. Which consumers are going to gravitate, or how are you going to contract or get consumers to connect with your service as opposed to going with another service? It's almost like the old VHS versus Beta Max debate. Beta was the better technology, but people went with VHS and
bigger tapes, way more space used up. I was wondering why they went from Beta. They even made a Beta conversion tape out of the VHS.
I remember that. Yeah.
You put the beta inside of the damn
Yeah, I
bitch.
know. They had to, man.
Oh, wait.
Because VHS caught up so much, It's
Yeah.
but you never know, but it's almost like the battle in the beginning between Windows and Macintosh, in the beginning Microsoft was winning that battle. Then Apple figured out a way to make more consumers go with it. So it all is consumer based in what people decide. But the thing that's challenging about the metaverse, it's kind of hard to enter the metaverse. You got to buy your Oculus, you got to buy your stuff, and but it'll be interesting to see how it all rolls out.
I mean, there's already people in there catching federal charges and stuff. I'm
Now
like,
that I
how
haven't
can you catch a rape charge on the metaverse?
That I have not heard of.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
I heard a story where a woman was trying to,
Right.
and they were talking about that it was legitimate
Oh, really?
case. So
Oh, wow.
check that out. Look that up, man.
That's unfortunate. But with the technology, it's always something. People always turn something good into bad.
Yeah.
Kind of like the AirTags. The AirTags, people now are using them to track people. Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
I mean, I wouldn't think about that. I don't have that kind of criminal mind. I'm not thinking, well, maybe I can use this AirTag to track my partner that I was abusing. That's just not me.
That's crazy, man.
I'm the guy that's like, well, maybe I don't need to put AirTag in my luggage.
So I'm the type of person that's like, well, maybe I should put AirTag on my phone so when I'm out doing these inspections, my wife can make sure that I'm okay.
Right, exactly.
You know, I'm just backwards with it, but
yeah.
So how could an individual who's interested in doing the stuff that you do, how can someone get into the tech industry and become a techie?
It's funny because I think most people assume that it's taking apart computers, because we'll have people reach out occasionally saying, hey, my kid knows how to take apart a computer and put one back together. But that's not the world we live in as far as technology. It's people skills. So you got to work on your people skills first, unfortunately. You got to be able to talk to people. But you have to develop the mindset of the technical knowledge that to relate it to the everyday person. I mean, sure, it's a good idea to get involved and start taking apart pieces of technology like smartphones and computers and stuff like that, and learn how to keep people safe from all the cyber threats out there, and even maybe code or understand that aspect. But in the end, if you're going to set yourself apart from all the other tech people out there, you got to learn how to be able to articulate the technology skills so that the everyday person can understand it. Because if you are the tech person for a company, you got to be able to relate to the CEO, the CIO, or the COO as far as what changes need to be made in order for them to fund whatever needs to happen as far as technology is concerned. If you decide to go out and start your own business as a tech expert in cybersecurity or whatever, you still have to relate to people and understand, or make them understand what's going on so that they can build their business and stay protected from the latest cyber threats out there. So I think more about learning your interpersonal skills as opposed to learning your technology skills too, because the sky's the limit. And I think it's also important to figure out which discipline you want to go into as far as technology is concerned. I mean, do you want to go into the repair services? Do you want to go into cybersecurity? Do you want to go into web design? I mean, you have to really think about what aspect you want to go. And the important thing is to go with your passion. So if you're not passionate about a specific skill set, then you need to find one in technology that you're passionate about. Because at the end of the day, it's got to be something that you love to do as opposed to, well, I'm just going to get into it because this is where all the money is. I mean, true. But at the same time, you got to want to be able to jump out of bed and tackle that job as opposed to just doing it because you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the most important thing is you're passionate about it.
Got to be passionate about it, or guess what? As soon as something else comes along, you're gone. You're out of there.
Right.
And you do have to know, you definitely have to know your stuff. And you read all the manuals. I just had to get that in there.
I know you had to. Most of them are in PDF format now. They are. Or you just have to go find
highlight it and put the reader on it.
Yeah.
Read it to you.
Right. I
I do it all the time.
That's a good idea. Or watch the YouTube video, because a lot of companies now will just direct you to their website in order to quote unquote read the manual because, I mean, I think it's a good idea you don't have manuals now because we're saving trees and we're being green.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know those companies don't print them out because it's costing them money.
And a lot of money, and then you got to do it in 2 or 3 different languages now.
Right,
so now
exactly.
It's more paper.
That's right, yeah.
And it's smaller, so it's hurting my eyes and making my glass bill go up.
Right, that's right. That is funny.
But man, I appreciate
Oh, no problem, man. It's
you
my
taking
pleasure.
the time out
Yeah.
to come out and talk with us, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah.
But before you go,
Okay.
I have to have you leave the audience with some words of encouragement. So what can you tell the audience? What can you leave the audience with that'll help encourage them? Uh-oh.
Oh, my God.
He's showing his teeth, y'all. Uh-oh. Here we go.
What so the best and probably funniest thing that I'm going to throw out here is old lyrics to a favorite rap song. The sun doesn't shine forever, but as long as we shine together, that's all that matters, right?
Yep, that's all that matters.
So,
like that, man.
yeah, exactly.
I like that.
That's all that matters, yeah.
Yep, that's deep too.
Business before pleasure.
It's different too.
Right.
It's different.
But I think the challenge with me now looking for inspiration, especially when it comes to hip hop and R&B, is that a lot of people don't understand that it's not that the genre of music is not all about getting out, shooting,
shoot 'em up, bang,
shoot 'em
bang.
up. Yeah, I'm gonna bag
Hold
this
this,
woman and
hold
do
that.
this. Yeah, it's a lot of it is inspirational. You look at
They got messages in there.
there
man.
are a lot of messages in there, and I don't think
even
people
the
understand
bad
that.
music, even the
Yeah.
bad stuff. They're depicting their lives,
Right.
and it might not be the lifestyle that you're used to hearing, but it's a message in there. And I do some, just like you just did. I do in some of my cups. I quote a lot of hip hop.
Right.
I like to quote from all different aspects, all the way down to classical music if I have to.
Right,
So,
exactly.
but man, that's a good message, man. Thank
Well,
you
thanks,
for
yeah.
coming out and letting me pick your brain about the tech world.
All that
And you're
spam
not-
you get
Oh,
phone
man.
calls.
You might still get a call from me about that, man, because that just drives me nuts, man. But you're right. WhatsApp. I'm about to blow. They're going to be blowing the hell out of that WhatsApp.
Another thing you can download is you ever heard of RoboKiller?
Yes. I heard
You have
of
it?
Nope. I don't have
You
it.
probably didn't get it because it's going to cost you $30 a year, but it's worth it though.
Oh, it's
and
only $30 a year, man.
yeah, I think so.
That's
but
just
also,
my company phone, so the company will pay for it.
we're right. But the other thing too, I don't know who your provider is, but go to your provider too.
AT&T.
Yeah, they may have services that they can turn on to kind of block some of that spam call because most of them have the list of all of the calls that are reported as
It's like
sort of quote unquote spam. So go there first, and then you can look at the WhatsApp and.
So you got these people that call you and then you don't answer the phone and then you call it back
Mm-hmm.
and it's somebody that's like, no, I didn't call.
Why are you calling them back?
Well, because it'd be that 913 number
Oh, see, that's the trick.
and that's how they get you.
That's the hook.
But I don't answer it
Right.
and they don't leave a message.
Well, why are you calling them back? You know it's spam.
But
See, that's where the fishing comes in.
That's
Because you
how-
bit the hook.
So
And
tell
then
me
you
about
wiggling
fishing.
on-
So,
you whistling-
what
wiggling
is
on it.
fishing? So fishing is when they catch you and they,
No, fishing's the thing they throw out the bait. So the bait is whatever
Phone
is
number.
going to, well, that could be the bait because fishing's trying to get information out of you. That's why it's the PH as opposed to the FISH ING fishing. So yeah, the whole idea with phishing schemes are to do anything it takes to get the information out of you, whether it be your name, social security number, credit card, any of that stuff. That's what they want so that then they can use it for criminal purposes. But the bait is the caller ID. You like, oh, well, I want to know who the heck that is. So you
Well,
call
see,
back.
It's a business.
Well, yeah, of
So
course.
I have to call certain numbers back. And if
Well,
I'm on
remember though, if someone wants your business, they're gonna leave a phone number and say, "Call me back."
some of them,
I know, right?
but some
Yeah.
of them they'll go through the phone.
Oh yeah, and just start
And
calling
they'll
people.
call
yeah.
and call and call until they get someone.
Right.
Because I've literally called some people back and said, "Hey man, this is Chuck with Luminous Technologies. I missed a call from this number. Oh yes, I have lights out here. Dude. But
What you need?
sometimes you get that.
you need a live voice then to answer the phones. That's what we have. That
So you mean like somebody in the shop that says, Hi.
that's answering the phone all the time. So when it comes in, then you'll know immediately rather than letting it go to
And they can
voicemail.
just push it to another line.
Yeah,
Man, that's what
exactly.
we're gonna talk a little more, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
No problem,
You've
man.
come out. You've probably given me the longest interview that I've had. But it's all good stuff, man. This
Right.
is stuff that people need to hear. A lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of sources out there that can literally make your life easier
Oh yeah, definitely.
if you tune in.
That's
You know,
true.
so I appreciate you coming out here and
No problem.
spending some time with us, man. And if you guys want to follow old Burton here, you can follow him on all the social media sites. Go to his website, burtonkelso.com. Is that
Yeah,
right?
you got it. Yeah, you got it.
burtonkelso.com.
You see, I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, you have.
I'm
That's
like,
how I am with my number. He's like, "What's your number?" Let me think about it.
Right.
What's your wife's number?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But no, very, very interesting details about who this man is, and he's definitely been all over the place. He's definitely helped out many genres of people out all over the world with his tech advice. So if you guys have a question about anything, don't hesitate to look out for him. BK, thanks, man.
No problem,
And
Chuck
thank
D.
you. And this is where we come down to it, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the First Cup KC. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And like always, stay positive, people.
Amen.